Well, speaking of trending queens,
Trend
we
alert.
have Eva Sollberger from Stuck in Vermont.
Ah!
But first, let's watch our episode.
Yes.
We are here at VCAM in Burlington on the set of The Tea with Emoji and Nikki.
Queens ring the party. Get up off your sass. This is the tea.
And now, Burlington's own darling TV queens, straight from the heart of the Queen City.
Welcome to the Tea. Two queens bringing together art and activism.
It's the House of Lament!
Lucky me. I got to be on the tea. It's awesome.
The Tea brings several guests per episode to our couch here at the VCAM studio.
This is only the third episode of this weekly cable access show.
We really try to focus on a diverse set of identities on each episode. And we are going to shuffle.
Drag has, within the last couple of years, become fairly mainstream, and people have become a lot more comfortable with it.
Come on in. We're ready to see you now.
And there's so many different styles of drag that I think everyone has a different meaning and it's very personal. Like for myself, drag is more of a gender exploration through art.
The LeMays are my
You're
aunts.
technically part of the House of LeMay.
I know, it's nuts.
We have families, and families are really important in drag scenes. I mean, you've been like the town crossdresser for years.
I have been. The fact that I feel comfortable enough to walk down Main Street in a 4th of July parade, which is easily like the most attended event in our town. They're like, there's Justin! I was like, it's Emoji now, bitch! No.
Well, we have transformed our VCAM studio into a fashion runway.
It's when life gives you lemons.
Oh, and pockets!
So she gurus all the time.
What, the queens who get involved in activism do is raise that awareness that we're not just like these weird circus creatures. We're doing things, we're raising money for these marginalized communities.
Through the 25 years, we've raised literally hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Is that what's next? We're gonna get a drag queen in the house?
You're the next generation, so we need you to step up and lead and be visible.
Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure to tune in next week.
Talk the tea with Nikki and Emoji. The tea, the tea, the tea, the time, the truth, the talk.
It was so fun filming that Stuck in Vermont episode.
Amazing.
It was like one of my favorite mornings ever.
Stuck in Vermont.
We're not going
I just wanted to do one verse because we have Eva Sollberger here in the studio with us today.
I love your theme song too.
Do you know it yet?
Well, yeah, I was singing it as I was editing it. This is the tea.
We do love it.
Well, how does it feel to be back in our VCAM studio?
This time I'm in front of the camera.
You are.
So exciting. I love it. I love it. You all have been doing so many episodes and I watch them and I enjoy it and it's exciting to be on one.
Well, I just love when I can see it from here. You have like a plaque here at VCAM. Like,
It's true.
yeah, you're like a big deal in the VCAM studios.
Well, I had a cable access show for 3 years called The Deadbeat Club, and I love making that. I did it with my family. I didn't do it on this set, but
Okay.
it played on VCAM for 3 years, every month. I couldn't do it weekly like you two. And it was pop culture and all sorts of weird movie clips and montages, many montages. And I don't know if this has happened to you two, but people would stop me in the grocery store and be like, I know the Deadbeat Club. It still happens to my family. People, I mean, it's not even on air anymore.
Yeah, we can't actually go anywhere without being recognized.
yeah.
We're constantly.
It's fame. It's
Yeah,
exhausting.
they're like Amber LeMay, Amber LeMay. And we're like, no. So,
The fame,
Yeah.
yes, just no pictures, no close-ups. Stop, I can't handle it. Yeah.
so would you use the VCAM equipment and film that out, like and about, or what was the connection with VCAM?
The connection with VCAM was I moved back to Vermont I was in California for about a decade, and I had camera and editing gear. I learned how to do all that in California. And when I moved back to Vermont, I was like, I'm gonna be in community theater and I'm gonna have a cable access show. Those are my goals.
You had
and
goals.
so I
Okay.
did
It's just
Grease
part of that.
with Lyric in '04, so that was my big community theater debut. It was really exciting. And then I did the Deadbeat Club for 3
Were you
years.
Sandy, though?
No, but Sandy ended up on Broadway.
Oh!
As did who's plays opposite Sandy, John Travolta's character, he also ended up on Broadway.
him.
So,
No, what is it?
who is
Da-
Danny
Zuko.
Zuko.
Yeah,
Danny
I was,
There we go.
I wasn't confident with that. I was like, damn.
Exactly. We got to do that in the end. We did the whole. I don't remember.
Oh my God.
But we stood in a line and did the whole hand jive.
Right, because they just did that as a live
Shabba-dabba-dabba-doo-doo-doo-doo-dum.
Exactly, that last song. Yeah.
You like practically know all the lyrics.
You
You should be great.
You know what?
Coming soon.
We were
to
talking
community
about a
theater.
musical
Emoji Nightmare.
beforehand. Are we going to do a Grease musical for Stuck in Vermont?
Oh, I wish. It is going. So my 500th episode is coming up. I've been doing this video series, Stuck in Vermont, for 7 days.
100.
Right. I know it just goes by like that. It's been 10 years, and I do it every week. So for the 500th, I wanted to do something super special. So I'm doing a musical, and I would love to have you two in it.
I would love
We're
nothing
in.
more.
Yeah.
Bring the
Yeah.
glamour, the star power. You could do
Yeah,
some
what's
lip
another
syncing.
what's another episode of Stuck in Vermont for me? I mean, at this point,
Exactly, but it's so many. Yeah. it's
my
true.
goal is to be on the most episodes of Stuck in Vermont.
You're
other
gonna have
than
to
you.
fight with the LeMays for that.
Are they
too.
on a lot of them?
So many.
Well, time's on my side,
So many.
so we'll see.
Oh my God.
Although I actually have never done a full LeMay episode, so I'm so excited. I get to do one this September at the Art Hop. We were waiting for the right moment, so
Oh.
we found it at the Art Hop.
So you have it planned.
Yes, it's coming up.
It's a lot of drag queen on Stuck in Vermont in
Oh,
one
I know.
year. I
can't
love
get
it.
Enough. I can't get enough.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I have an inner drag queen. I love hair, makeup, clothes, glitz, sequins. So for me, it's perfect.
Well, who doesn't love dress up? I mean, everyone who's like, I don't like to dress up. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. I know, some people do not. But
Shut up.
Yeah, we don't care about that. No,
Yeah.
we like sequins. Yeah.
Sparkles.
I like a bird. Sparkly things. I like them.
A bird?
You put
Yeah.
it in your nest.
They put things in their nest that are
Oh,
shiny
I'm
and
like a
sparkly.
bird.
Yeah.
I only fly away.
Yes. I'm like a bird. I was like, you like to wear birds? Why are birds so sparkly? I was very confused. For
Put
minute,
a bird
but,
on it.
Put a bird on it. We are like Portlandia here in Burlington.
Totally are.
There's so many similarities between the. It's like, yeah,
I
exactly.
know. Yeah, we got our mason
Maybe that's the
jars.
series we need to start.
I have thought
Just a
about
knockoff.
that. Yeah, I think it's right. I mean, in many respects, in Stuck in Vermont, that is what I do, Burlingtonia.
Pretty much,
Because there's
yeah.
so many just quirky Burlington. Like, you know, the video I'm doing for this coming week, it's about a snail race. So, you
Literal
know,
snail.
Literal snails.
snail race. It's at Intervale Community Farmers doing a snail race. So it's so Burlingtonia.
So you have to collect a snail. Oh, we'll find
have to
out. But
train
like,
it?
I'm very. Because I've been to frog races. We have frog races out in the country.
Yeah, exactly. It's similar.
Or
But-
like-
Oh, you're like, you're judging me already.
Not
I don't do
surprised.
small
She's
town.
like,
I've
what?
heard about this like cow plot bingo.
Yes.
That.
You buy a square.
Yep.
It's Vermont.
That's
how we entertain
fun.
ourselves.
That's what makes us amazing.
You just watch cows poop, right? Is that
Yeah.
Is that the whole entertainment?
They're watching drag queens right now. Talk to Eva Sollberger. It's like
Practically watching cows poop. So great.
Welcome.
I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
It's a lot more glamorous, and we shine.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, that was
That
quite.
was-
That was
did it.
quite
We
the
did a
journey.
lot.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did do a journey there.
And we're back.
And
All right,
we're back
next.
at the VCAM studio where you got your start as well.
That's right. It's true.
So the Deadbeat Society, did you take any of that inspiration into
Debbie Club.
Deadbeat Club?
Yeah.
Sorry,
We were
I'm
a
thinking
society.
of like Dead Poet Society. Thank you.
That's right.
Is that where you got the name from?
The Deadbeat Club. Well, you know the famous song. You don't
No.
know the famous song? B-52s. We're the Deadbeat Club. Deadbeat Club. Come on. You haven't heard that? That's like, you know the B-52s, sure.
yes.
I do.
Love Shack.
Shack.
Right, so Love Shack is perhaps their more well-known song.
Yeah, I
The
know that
Deadbeat
one.
Club is maybe less popular, but
Okay.
it's awesome.
That was
So
the
that was where I
inspo.
stole it, yeah.
Okay.
And the problem with the Deadbeat Club was I used a lot of copyrighted music and video clips, and it began like we started putting them on YouTube as well, and they got a lot of attention because of the celebrity element. You know, I would make fun of Britney Spears or whoever, and I would do like these montages for tortured artists, and I would take all these movie clips and plop them in there together and use like a copyrighted song. So initially it was okay, but YouTube and copyright have gone
Yeah,
through
they caught
lots
up.
of the content ID system. So eventually I got kicked off of YouTube for copyright, so you can't even see them anymore.
What a true artist
That's
to get
right.
kicked off of YouTube.
Rebel.
You've been banished.
And I had like zillions of subscribers and views, but I was also like closing that chapter.
It was
started
fine.
doing
You're like,
stuff in
whatever, I don't
Vermont.
need you.
I had moved on, so in a way it was just like, okay. And also people can be cruel on YouTube. I don't know if you've noticed.
No.
No, we
But-
only get love.
Yeah, they
Good.
only tell us how
I'm
pretty we are.
so glad, because you are. But yeah, people can be a little mean. So I was okay with moving on and doing Stuck in Vermont.
And so how did that come to be? Like, what was...
So I started Stuck in Vermont in 2007, and I think because I've been doing the Deadbeat Club for 3 years and we were so inward focused, it's just like me hanging out with my family, talking about whatever we want to talk about, like inside our heads. I wanted to go outward, and I wanted to start talking to other people. I thought about like a talk show. I still think about doing a talk show, but I wanted to meet Vermonters who were doing interesting, creative things. And for me, my passion has always been finding people who are passionate about something. I'm just so nonplussed by people who aren't into what they're doing. I mean, there's no story there, right? So you need like the meat. You need people who are excited about what they do. And there's so many people like that in Vermont. And there's so many people just doing unusual things, so many artists. And that's always been my focus, is artistic people and also people who are just passionate. And I was really nervous when I started, just because I'm not used to interviewing people with a camera. And I remember the first video I did was an art show in Stowe, and I interviewed James Kolchaka, a local comic book artist, and I was shaking. I was so like, and, you know, the lighting was bad, and the framing was bad, and the audio was bad, and all that stuff. But the style of Stuck in Vermont, from that first episode to the upcoming 500th, it's the same. It's just kind of like quirky, fast-paced, fun people. So I definitely, I think, have grown as an artist in that time, but I think the heart of it is still the same. So that's what kind of keeps me going week to week.
So when you started it, was that a 7 days, were you working for 7 days at the time?
So my sister, she does film criticism for 7 days, Margot Harrison, and she was working for them at that point. So I was talking to Kathy Resmer about, we should have video at 7 days. We should work with you somehow, but we didn't know really how. So starting on the 4th episode of Stuck in Vermont, which was about Sonic Youth at Higher Ground. They just played there, and everybody went like batshit. They were so excited about it. And so I made a video about that, and that's when 7 days started paying me $50 a video as a freelancer. And I was making 1 to 2 videos a week, and that was in, I think, February of 07. And then in June of 07, we sat down, and I was like, look, I work 40 hours a week on these. I can't do them for $50 anymore. And they said, okay, we'll hire you full time then.
Wow.
I've been full time since 07.
Amazing.
10 years, I know.
And is that your like only is that your focus? Is that your day to day? It's just Stuck in Vermont?
Yes, and believe me, I mean, it
And
takes
because you
a
have
long time.
James is on your staff now, right?
I do. I have a wonderful assistant, editor, shooter, multimedia journalist, James Buck, who's amazingly talented and shot half of your video.
Yes.
He
We
did
got to hang out with
almost all of the
James.
Butterworks video. It's beautiful because he shot it so beautifully. He did all those
Well, and
drone
cows are
shots.
so cute. Like
I know.
all those shots of cows
Munching grass.
Yeah, and just like being
No pooping.
quirky.
Yeah, no pooping.
No cow
Cud.
pooping.
Their tongues just like. Oh,
I learned
talked to you
all
about
about Cud the other day.
Why was I teaching you about Cud?
Well, because
did we
we
get
were
on
in a
that?
field, and
Oh.
you said something about Cud. And
We're on
I
location
had-
at a photo shoot.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, big exclusive. Keep your eyes out for that one. But yeah, I didn't know about the regurgitation and all this other
Yeah,
gross
I
stuff.
had to-
that
Do you know
teach her.
why? I Googled this.
No, we didn't. I think you asked why. I was like, I don't know. They just
But
have
do
4
you know
stomachs.
why they do that?
No.
Potentially, I read this online. This is a theory that the reason why they chew their food twice is because they're such targets that they want to eat fast and get out of there because everybody wants to go get them because they're easy to attack, I guess. And
Cows
so,
are?
Wait.
Cows, yeah, that's the theory.
So
as to why
that's
they
like
chew
it's like an
twice.
instinctual. It's like a
So you eat
DNA
your
sort
food
of
up,
thing.
you get out of there, and then you eat it again.
move on.
So
Oh,
it's just a
got
way
it.
for you to not be somewhere too long because
Okay, so
That's
they
my
only,
issue.
They only chew it twice.
I
That's
thought it was
my
4
understanding.
because I
You
thought
might
there was
be right.
4 stomachs.
You
I
might
don't
be
really
right.
know. We need a fact check.
But you know what I do know about chewing your cud?
This is so interesting. The queens discussed cows for 4 full minutes.
Colin was saying, because he takes care of the cows at Butterworks. He was saying if he doesn't see them chewing their cud, there's something wrong.
Oh, like he knows.
Because it means they're healthy. Because it means they're well fed. Because these cows are grass only, so it means everything's working right. So when you see cows chewing their cud, you know they're doing good.
It's doing a good job. It's a healthy cow.
Exactly.
That's
These
the
are
one you
the
wanna
things you
eat.
learn when you're making videos.
And I remember watching the Tiny House episode, which is that your most popular one, or?
At this point, the J Peaks Pump House is the most popular, but the Tiny House one
was an earlier one you did,
was
right?
Very early, and
Alan
it
Johnson.
went sort of viral, not massive viral. It went viral in the Tiny House movement community.
Okay.
So that was early on, and as happens, like I had my mom with me. It was winter. We were looking for this guy, Peter King.
That guy's nuts. Like he's so cool.
He's very intelligent. He's one of those sort of like can talk and talk and talk.
Yeah.
And yet. So we met him on this mountaintop. It took us forever to find him. We got lost. It's like Johnson in the middle of nowhere. And I made this video about him, and his whole goal was to help people understand how to build tiny houses, affordable tiny houses.
And he was like, "I'll help you." Like he was very
right. And he had been putting up flyers around town. He has like a landline. He doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't do email like your typical Vermont backwoods person. And that was his goal, was just to reach out and share the gospel, the tiny house gospel. And he didn't know how. And the second I posted that video, which was just sort of him talking in his way, being him, like the essence of him, it just like was everywhere. It was on all the tiny house blogs, and all of a sudden all these people are like, oh my gosh, how can I get in touch with him? And I'm sort of, to this day, still his secretary. And I'll be like, here's his landline. Why don't you call him? Good luck. Like, people are always asking, how do I find the tiny house guy? And he became the tiny house guy, which is a phenomena that I just wasn't expecting. That you package this video. He's this complex person who talks and talks and talks, and then you edit it and you package it into this 6-minute little segment, and it's sort of this condensed version. And then you send it out into the world, and then it just like pings around, and then he becomes the tiny house guy.
Yeah.
And will probably always be called the tiny house guy. And that's kind of how the internet works. It's magical.
There could be worse things. That
Could be
called tiny.
Yeah, it's
At
true.
least it's a house.
It's a house. And because of that video, he went all over the world making tiny houses.
There you
so
go.
He got his goal. Like his goal was just to share his information, and he does that. And I think I did another video on him, and he had built like 10 houses in that year. So it's definitely like going to people's houses and showing them how to do it.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so that's like the good power of internet video. Yeah. And then the bad side is like I didn't understand what that exposure meant, and I did this video about a soldier who had then become anti-war after he came back, and that video then became a platform where people were leaving negative messages from his platoon about what he had to say about being anti-war afterwards. So when I approach people about being in a video, I try to let them know that it could potentially lead to good and bad attention.
How did he handle that?
I think it was hard on many levels. I mean, I think this was a person who was super pro-war and then super anti-war. So he became this spokesperson, and in many ways, not just through the video, he was getting a lot of blowback from people who had known him before. And I think it was really, really hard. And I know that he's gone through a lot and has come out the other side a stronger person. But I felt as though I had contributed to it by putting him out there.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to understand, like, oh, this can be used for good, used for bad, but it can have a larger effect than you understand at the time when you're just making this video and putting it into the world.
Just trying to create a quirky Burlingtonia video out for everyone, and like you said, mixed messages coming from each and every way.
Yeah, it's been positive and negative for sure, but I've learned something every time, so.
I know that ours was probably your favorite you've ever
course.
done. But besides us, if you had to pick one, what would be your favorite? I know there's 490. What are you up to? 3 now? 494?
I think 494 is this coming week.
Okay, the snails.
Oh, that's the snails are 494. I don't know. That is so hard. Oh, my favorite.
Or most interesting.
So many.
Or prettiest.
Prunels.
Yeah.
I love doing the video with you two. I really did. I
Uh-huh.
love doing the behind the scene. I've since learned that that's called on RuPaul's Drag Race when they interview them in the mirror or when they're talking in the mirror. It's called like the tragedy mirror. That's what.
The tragedy.
I know some people who call it that because
Why?
it's like they always tell these tragic stories, or
Right.
often.
They do. That
So-
makes sense because they're like doing their
We-
makeup and they're like telling
We
about.
did discuss that
Yeah.
when
The
we were in there. Of
I know.
like, we need a tragedy story right now.
And I
Like,
had to cut
need a
that
sad
I know,
because
there was
just
so much
wasn't
time.
Yeah, your video was really hard for me to cut, as is often the case if I'm into the subject matter. It like the first cut was 30 minutes. I mean, this always happens if it's
Wow.
something I'm really into, and then I have to like cut, and it's called cutting your babies or killing your babies because you
My
get
goodness.
attached to these clips.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to have the tragedy mirror moment in there, and I kept making it smaller. And smaller, and smaller,
Until it
and smaller,
disappears.
and I'm like, okay, just let it go. Like you get to
we
a
need to
point,
get rid of the tragedy.
yeah, and it's
No more
late at
sad.
night, and you're just like, I have to make it fit 8 minutes. It just has to. And then I have to cut it for TV, which is 4 minutes, and that's
Oh
really
my
hard.
goodness.
And then I have to cut it for Facebook, and that's 2 minutes, and then Instagram, and that's 1 minute. So it's really at a certain
You really
point.
have to splice it up.
Yeah, you do.
It's a hard one.
It's this Snapchat generation. Everything's
can
so
only do
short
it
and
10
tiny.
seconds.
And they're like, 10 seconds, this is all I can watch. I'm busy. Yeah, and it's so funny just in the span that I've been making the videos, the 10 years, like now, people are watching them on their phone. And
Yeah, you
people
didn't
are
have to
watching
worry
them-
about that in 2007, probably, right?
No, it's all just
You had one video and you're good.
changed.
For $50.
Exactly. Yeah, for $50. Yeah.
Come on, 7 days.
And I was rich. I did actually, since getting that job, I was able to buy a house in Burlington. So I
There you
could
go.
not have bought a house without having my wonderful job at 7 Days. I'm so grateful. I love, it's a wonderful paper. It's a wonderful group
It
of people.
is.
And it's just, there's no place I'd rather work. I've never worked anywhere for 10 years. So the fact that I lasted that long is a testament to how amazing they are.
Well, if
on,
7
7
Days
Days.
ever wants to get us, a new studio and maybe in a different location, we can do anything. Come on. I know VCAM won't be happy about that, but come on, 7 Days, sponsor us.
We need our plaque on the wall too.
You're totally going to have a plaque on the wall.
We were in the table of contents, okay?
We
That's
are,
all
we
we
are.
got 7 Days table of contents. Thanks
And-
for that.
No, my pleasure. Anytime.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about. I feel like this interview is a bunch of full circles.
Yes.
So, talking of full circles, you met Madeline Cunin when you were just a youngster in elementary school,
That's right, Johnson Elementary School in Johnson, Vermont.
Noel
Wow.
County.
That's right.
and you went to the
Oh, it's up.
State House.
Oh, look.
And that is you. Which
Where
one
are you? Where are you?
So I'm to the right of Governor Cunin. You can tell I'm kind of the spooky one. I've got a weird expression on my
Spooky
face.
one.
I was very excited. It was a meaningful experience for me. A little woo. But we went there 5th or 6th grade, and to meet the governor, who is intelligent, respected, powerful, doing such good work, and then to have it happen to be a woman, you have to see it to be it. And that was a big moment for me to realize, like, oh, okay. I was raised by a feminist, I'm a feminist, but to see it in action was really, it meant a lot. And I know it wasn't just me, it was the other students. It meant a lot to all of us. And so I interviewed Governor Cunin later when I was doing Second Vermont on a VSO fundraiser, and it was so cool. Again, that full circle thing. When
Yeah.
you grow up in a state and then you get to interview these people who had a big effect on your life, and to be able to be an adult and be a little more similar in ages, or it feels like we're similar in status, and just to be able to have that conversation. in
Darren
that
Perrin
role.
talked about that on our last episode,
Yeah.
growing up watching Marcellus Parsons and then taking over his position as an anchor.
Yeah.
Like, it's that small town. We're so isolated and we can do anything here.
It's true. And when I was a kid, unlike when you were a kid, I didn't have the internet. So I was in Johnson,
Well, I barely
Vermont.
got the internet.
You did. You just barely got it. Okay.
I mean,
I'm never sure.
I got high speed when I was out of college.
Yeah, that takes
we
a
had
while.
internet, but
We still have some
the
places.
cows moved faster than.
You couldn't be on the phone at the same time as
No.
trying to be on the internet.
Well, part of
Difficult
your
times.
story that resonated for me is I was, raised in this small Johnson town. We had moved there when I was 7 from Manhattan, so I had an idea of this bigger community that existed, but I was so young that we moved to the small town, and I was so happy when I was a kid. We lived in the middle of nowhere.
You're just a spooky little girl.
I was just spooky and wackadoodle, and we just played outside all the time, and that was fine. But as a teenager, I did definitely encounter like, like I'm different. I like different music. I would watch like Madonna on night tracks on, Channel 5 late at night. That was like my only access to culture. And it was hard. It was definitely, and going to Lamoille and knowing I was different and feeling like I liked things that were different from the people there. I wasn't into sports. I just had that sort of square peg not fitting in the round hole feeling. And it was really hard because if I could have gotten in the internet and been like, oh look, there's people just like me everywhere, it would have given me just that comfort and security, I think. So that's part of my Vermont experience. And then I left, went away to college, went away to California, and then I came back when I turned 30. So for me it was, I'm old enough that I can be myself and be different and fit in this environment. And certainly Burlington's pretty quirky, so I fit in here pretty well. And I can still travel to Vermonty places and be myself, and it's okay.
And no one thinks twice probably when you show up like this on the farm.
No, they really don't. I mean, people are amazing. I think it was something I had to work out. You know what I mean? Like it was an insecurity that I had to get through, and now, they're just like, they take you as you come. In general, people are pretty open-minded.
Well, the storytelling is really what it's all about, and I think that, we heard a story of someone who shared "You're Stuck in Vermont" on our video with his students. So like that's I mean it's.
I love that. When I hear that from teachers, that's always a big deal for me. Is either I cover students or they're playing that video, and just knowing it has that life and it goes out there and sort of.
It's the good. It's all the good part of it.
It's the good, and it's showing kind of maybe the Vermont that is not the traditional idea of Vermont. Is yes, it's farmers, but it's also artists, or it's like a farmer who's got a quirky hobby or something, and collects John Deere materials.
I saw that one.
Yeah, I love them. The Gamashes.
Up in Franklin County.
I love the Gamashes, and his wife collects
cats.
Yeah. They're just my favorite. I love them.
I'm dropping some good Stuck in Vermont.
Good.
That was the cutest episode. I think I cried in that one. I don't even know. I cry all the time. Anyway, Eva, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you both. I had a great time.
It's so great to see you every time, and can't wait to be in your 500th episode.
Yes, I can't wait. You two both.
Because we're stuck in Vermont.
I see what you did there.
I did it. So we will be right back with our next guest.